I've been ranting about this, especially on the bonus show. Click the join button on YouTube to get it, but probably publicly for everyone as well, which is that right now we're in this situation where platforms like Kalshi, Polymarket make betting on real-world events more and more popular. And so increasingly, people are trying to get rich quick, make money by going, is this military operation going to happen by Friday? Or is this individual going to attend this event? Sports games, etc. But it's expanded beyond the typical things like sports. Okay, there's been sports betting a long time. Now is George Santos going to go to the Trump State of the Union? And so one of the first prominent examples that prosecution came about because of was the person who was a part of the Maduro military operation betting on if the Maduro operation was going to happen. That's insider trading because you know it's going to happen because you're planning to go in and get him, and then you bet on it and make yourself a bunch of money. Apparently, George Santos, the former and disgraced Republican congressman who was about to go to prison or was in prison, and Trump commuted his sentence. He made some mistakes, committed wire fraud, stole money from his campaign, stole his donors' credit card information, but it was all a big whoopsie. He's out of Congress now. He got kicked out. Let him have a fresh start. Do you know what happens when people escape accountability? They engage in the behavior that they weren't held accountable for. Fraud. And in this case, insider trading. So let me give you the background. Before Trump's last State of the Union, George Santos was making a big deal about going to the State of the Union. And there was a betting option set up where you could bet on if George Santos was going to go to the State of the Union or not. So he posted this video confirming he was going to go, which sent the yes, he's going to go bets skyrocketing. But then something happens in the story, which we'll get to.
So to all of you freaking out, oh, George Santos, you can't go on the House floor. I cannot go on the House floor when it's in session. That is correct. But I can go on the House floor when it's not in session. I've done some floor tours and whatnot. But you guys forget, I'm going to be in the gallery. I never said I was going to be on the floor. Or maybe. I'm going to be there for the State of the Union in the gallery, guys. Just chill, trolls. Chill, okay? I just want to see if you guys are going to be just as excited about Monica McIver and Sheila McCormick when they get their asses fucking convicted.
Quickest pause to request that you click the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. It's completely free, and it's the simplest way to support the work that we do right below the video. Click that subscribe button, and then also, whatever you're thinking or some random statement, drop it in the comments. That helps algorithmically, and click the like button. Back to the video.
Bye.
Okay, so that is him saying, yes, I'm going to the State of the Union. I'm going. So you can imagine a bunch of people, I don't know if it was on Polymarket or Kalshi or whatever, started betting, yes, Santos is going to go to the State of the Union. He confirmed it. But then, suddenly, when the State of the Union starts, he sends out a post being like, aw, dang, I didn't know I was going to have to watch the State of the Union from an airport, trying to portray the idea that he had got caught up at the airport. Maybe there's a delay, a cancellation, and while he was planning on going, he ended up not being able to go. Okay, so that's normal. He said, I'm going to be there originally as I played for you, and then posted, watching the State of the Union from an airport TV was not a part of the plan, FML. And screw my life is what that means, the article specifies. He posted the message as Trump was speaking, making those same odds in the Kalshi market plummet. So a bunch of people bet on Santos said he's going to go. I'm going to bet that he's going to be there. For some reason, that was a thing set up on Kalshi. And all of that would be fine within the context of us setting up all these different betting sites for some reason. Except what he's being accused of and now investigated for is that he bet that he wouldn't go to the State of the Union. This is what this incentivizes. Because of course he knows if he's going to go or not. So then he set up some fake story about I got stuck at the airport and bet on the outcome of his own actions. What Santos didn't say was that he had already placed bets on Kalshi that he was not going to appear at the State of the Union address, according to 3 people with direct knowledge of his trades. who were not authorized to speak publicly. Kalshi detected Santos's trades, froze his account, and referred the case to the Department of Justice. So now a guy who barely escaped having to be in prison much longer because Trump commuted his sentence for some reason has the gall to go engage in blatant, allegedly, insider trading. Santos said, well, that's news to me. He said, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, when asked if he has a Kalshi account. We were talking about this before we started today's show. Can you imagine being the type of person that engages in fraud, that places you in prison because you were so greedy? That's what a lot of his activities were about. Exploiting his position of power that he lied to get into, exploiting his campaign to funnel himself money, to pay for stuff that he wanted, to get bougie products, to pay for OnlyFans, literally, to get Botox, literally, using campaign funds, using people's credit card information. And then the president comes in and goes, because you supported me, I'm going to commute your sentence. I'm going to pardon you, essentially. I'm going to let you out of jail. And you go engage in this behavior? If that were me, if for some reason I got all bent out of shape and I engaged in crimes and I went to prison, and then the president was like, I'll let you out, I would be on my best behavior. I already am a little bit obsessive about walking on crosswalks and not stepping outside of the crosswalk, not jaywalking, but I would be every single time, never even driving through a yellow light, walking perfectly on the crosswalks, car parked perfectly within the lines. I'd be donating extra in taxes for some reason. I'd be on my best behavior. I escaped having to be in prison for a super long time. Yay. But instead he does something, according to this reporting, blatantly illegal. DOJ investigating, because it's insider trading, George Santos, for new crimes 7 months after Trump freed him from prison. And so you might go, well, yes, people should be held accountable for this. This is insider trading. If you know you're not going to show up to something, but then you're hyping that you're going to be there so that people will bet on that, so that you can make more money if you bet on the less likely outcome, which is that you won't appear at the State of the Union. That's insider trading. But doesn't it represent a bigger problem? How will we possibly prevent this from happening? George Santos is a buffoon, so he got himself caught easily. His account's probably George Santos _ yes, that George Santos _ yes, I'm the real former Republican Congressman George Santos. And it was the easiest thing for Kalshi to detect. It's much harder if he gets his distant friend to make the bet for him and then comes up with some arrangement where he benefits from that. But instead, he just blatantly did it himself. So then, you get caught. The Kalshi AI system can probably quickly go, wait, someone named George Santos bet on George Santos not attending. That seems suspicious. Easy. But people do a lot more complicated things who aren't so foolish as George Santos to rig the system or to game the system and break the law. And then you zoom out further than that and say, okay, so people engage in this behavior, but then you zoom out another layer and say, but how many people are getting away with this type of stuff? We've seen all the suspicious trades on Trump statements that will move the markets, and clearly he or people around him are insider trading. Will his Department of Justice ever prosecute him for that? Probably not. Zoom out further than that. Do we really want a society that still in certain states just gambling is illegal, but these live betting markets are legal? And we turn everything into a commodity. We turn everything into something you can trade on. All events turn into just an opportunity for people to make or lose a bunch of money. That doesn't seem like a well put together society to me. People also recirculated George Santos posting ban insider trading. Oh yeah, we'll start with you, Bubs. And then since we're on the topic of George Santos, I was reminded of his reaction to Mitt Romney speaking out against him whenever George Santos was exposed as being a fraud and a hypocrite and a liar.
It's not the first time in history that I've been told to shut up and go to the back of the room, especially by people who come from a privileged background. And it's not going to be the last, and I'm never going to shut up and go to the back of the room. And I think it's reprehensible that the senator would say such a thing to me in the demeaning way he said. It wasn't very Mormon of him. That's what I can tell you.
This guy thought he was a civil rights hero. I will not go to the back of the room. I won't. I just won't. Many righteous warriors before me fought for my right to defraud my voters into electing me based on a resume that was completely false so that I can use their money and my donors' money to enrich myself. This is what MLK fought for. This is what he fought for. Now, on the betting sites, it gets wacky, guys. And Cole brought this up to me while I was talking about George Santos before the show. Here's another example. So you got George Santos betting on himself not going and telling people he was going to go and likely made a lot of money off of that. Then you have people betting on what the weather's going to be. So then they go find the weather sensors and they tamper with them to make the weather say what they want it to say so that they can make money off of their bet on what the weather was going to be. Go get a job, like a productive job. Do a job that you have an income and then you save a little bit and then you make a little bit and then you chip away and you build something in your life. Not just looking for the next get rich quick scheme. But in a society where income inequality is out of control, where people are increasingly feeling discouraged in their ability to actualize the American dream or the economic dream in other countries, the explosions of sites like Polymarket and Kalshi provide this nice shiny object where people who are feeling desperate look at those stories of the person who bet their life savings on some outcome and it happened and they got really rich. And they're actually pushed by our economic conditions into doing stuff like this, where you put a big enough bet because you're desperate and you really, really need money fast on the weather, you're going to go find how to tamper with the sensors. Again, another just icky aspect to this. Hairdryer or lighter. French police look at claim of sensor tampering to win weather bets. Forecasting service raised alarm over data from Paris airport used to settle Polymarket wagers on temperature. So people found out where the sensor was that Polymarket was going to use for what the temperature was going to be. And so then they went and heated up the thermometer. It's grim, guys. It's really, really grim. I cannot believe, George Santos, you just had your ass saved. You just got out of prison way earlier than you should have. And you're out here insider trading allegedly.